Most automation engineers think that building automations with AI is just about prompt engineering the right way. But here's what shocked me. I give the exact same AI automation task to 9 different AI systems. Only one actually delivered something that worked without hours of debugging. The results completely flipped everything I thought I knew about which AI tools actually deliver. So if you're just coming into this field, think of N8N, which is a digital automation software platform, as the equivalent of a factory assembly line for your business tasks. Just like how a factory connects different machines to automatically move products from one station to the next, N8N connects different software tools and apps to automatically move your data from process to process and to complete workflows without you having to lift a finger. For example, instead of manually checking your email for new customer inquiries, copying that information to your CRM, sending follow-up email, and updating your spreadsheet, it can do all of that automatically the moment a new email arrives. It's like having a tireless digital assistant that never sleeps, never makes mistakes, and can handle hundreds of repetitive tasks simultaneously. You just drag and drop different nodes, which think of them as the building blocks or machines on an assembly line, and they tell N8N what you want it to do, connecting Lego pieces to build exactly the workflow that your business needs. Well, today we're looking at a YouTube automation as our test case for this channel. The same AI reasoning and workflow creation abilities can revolutionize legal document processing, medical record analysis, anything that's a repetitive task in your business. You just drag and drop. So stick around to the end because I'm going to show you how these tools could transform your industry no matter what field you're in. But today's task is pretty simple. We're testing which AI can build a complete YouTube automation that finds my unlisted videos, schedules them, it generates the metadata, titles and descriptions, and then updates everything automatically. This matters because if AI can handle complex multi-step workflows like this, it could save you dozens of hours every month on repetitive tasks. First, we're going to feed the same natural language algorithm to 9 different AI systems. Then we're going to see which ones actually produce working automations versus which ones make complete garbage. Our reward at the end is going to be discovering which AI can build automations more accurately than any human could design by hand, and in about 5% of the time it would take the smartest person to do manually. I've been watching a lot of automation engineers on YouTube running these automations and saying, oh, presto change, I want to test if that's for real. I'm Evan Goldstein, I'm an engineer and a data scientist, and I'm building AI Capitalist R&D channel to give you the AI tools that you need to crank up profitability in your business. You can see here that I've written out my whole algorithm in natural language. This is what I'm going to want my automation to do. I want it to scan my YouTube channel and find any videos that are unlisted or private. We have a few private videos and a few unlisted videos. Then I wanted to figure out the last date that the last one is scheduled for. Then I wanted to set up a schedule for all of the videos that are right now are private or unlisted and do it every other day. So go to the last ones. Let's say that the last one was August 1st, August 3rd, and the next one scheduled, and the one after that, August 5th, and the one after that, August 7th, so they would come out every other day. So then I wanted to go through, and then for each video, I wanted to scrape the transcript, and then come up with all the meta tags, the description, the title. Is it for children? No. It needs to compare it to a playlist and figure out which playlist it should be a part of. Then I wanted to update all those tags for each video, one by one. So we're gonna see which LLM can actually do this, if any. But what happened next caught me completely off guard. We're just gonna see how it looks. We'll start with Claude. Here in Claude, I've created a project and uploaded a lot of the reference documentation from N8N, which is where I'm gonna build this automation. I've seen a lot of videos where these guys are setting these things up this way and then entering their natural language prompt and it spits out an automation. Let's see how real that is. The first result was promising, but here's where things got interesting. And if you're finding this useful, I'd appreciate it if you press the like button because we're about to see some serious AI failures. So here it's starting to spit out the details of the automation and we're just gonna have to wait for this to finish and it's done. So I'm gonna copy this from Claude. I'm gonna go over to an automation, Claude here, and we should just be able to paste it in. There it is. All right, it's looking good. It's a little wonky with the spacing, but who cares? This over. Now, what I see here is that for the prompts, I like to write my prompts that are in automations actually within Google Docs, can be modified. So I can go in there and if I want to change the prompt, I don't have to dig into the automation and then dig into this little node here and write in a prompt. They don't give you any room to look at it. It's hard to remember what your prompt was and how you're going to change it. I prefer to do Google Docs. Now, I told it that. I gave it the address but it didn't seem to figure out those are Google Docs to fetch transcripts from. Just looking at it, you can see it's using the right node, the YouTube node. It's filtering out the unlisted private or public videos. And here you're seeing it's getting the scheduled dates. Did it write the code in there? Yeah, it's got the code in there to go through and pick the latest date. Based on both of these pieces of information, it prepares the video queue. Now it goes out and grabs the transcripts. Here it's getting the captions and the transcripts. This is part of a loop. I think there's a node missing here that's going to cycle through this loop. These are Google Docs, and it needs to use a Google Docs node. Now here we combine the description. These don't necessarily need code nodes. These can be done in a set node, which is where it takes two pieces and it just slaps them together into one big piece of text. Now it goes into the LLMs to generate the video description. It generates the title, thumbnail description, tags, and it decides which playlist it's part of. It merges them and parses them, and then it updates the details for that video, and then it goes to the next video. Now, obviously, this is going to need some debugging. You have to run through and then start filling in blanks. But that's pretty easy. This has got the bulk of the work done. Could it actually fix its own mistakes? Let me go back and try to tell it to change those things and see if it can do it. Okay, so I asked Claude a few questions here. The prompts are Google Docs, so it can use a Google node. That's question one. It looks like there should be a loop node here to start the looping process, because you have a loop coming back, but there's nothing to set that up where it loops through each video. In the section where I used code nodes to combine the prompts for thumbnails, these code nodes, I think these should actually be set nodes. I was also asking, we have all this data coming together from each of these large language models. Do I need a merge node to put the data together? Now we'll see what Claude thinks about that. Claude has done its thing. Let's copy that, and then we're gonna go back to our N8Ns. I've cleared out the one we just made that we went through. Let's see. Oh, it doesn't work anymore. I can't paste it in. This is one problem I've consistently had with Claude, by the way, is that it doesn't always make it in the format that is amenable to copy pasting directly into N8N. This is also a general problem with Claude. What came next with ChatGPT was even more disappointing. I put the old one back in so that we'll be able to compare it to our other results. This is also just a general problem with Claude. It tends to go off on its own tangent, forgets what it was actually doing, and your program gets worse, not better, or your automation in this case. Next up, we're gonna go into ChatGPT. Let's go to N8N Assistant. This is N8N Assistant, these GPTs that are built by users. So I'm gonna try one of these. Here's my algorithm. Now ChatGPT is smart enough to ask me some questions. The N8N Assistant is done. So let's download, it's outputted as a downloadable file. So ChatGPT project, import from file. Great. It's a node with a question mark that says update video. There's nothing there. Thank you, project. Next, we'll go to regular ChatGPT and do the same prompt. Go. Thinking. And 4 minutes and 34 seconds later, it has produced. This is just straight out of the language model, no references, nothing. Let's see how it does. This is just regular ChatGPT since the project didn't work. Okay, so it has created a linear process here, and most of the nodes aren't connected. It's grabbing the prompts first, which it doesn't need to do, wasn't instructed to do that way in the algorithm. It's trying to filter here with an if instead of using a filter. This is trash. It doesn't loop through the videos. Yeah, don't use this. We'll never get those 4 minutes and 30 seconds back. But the real surprise was still coming. Deep Research had been working all night. I want to work with GPT Deep Research. Instead of just running the language model, this is going to research and look through the internet, find example projects, and really build an automation. And it's going to take its sweet time doing so. So I actually did this last night. And you can see I prompted it. It spent about 5 minutes, came out with this, with its first pass. And then I sent a picture. I started debugging and I said, hey, there's some problems with this. So I told it to go back and fix it. So this is the final version that it came out with. I set it running and I just went to sleep last night. That took 12 minutes to do. And here it is. We see that there are nodes that are disconnected at the beginning. The other thing that disturbs me here is that there are nodes within N8N that are specifically for YouTube, and it did not use those to get the videos. There's a lot of debugging to do in this particular issue. Also, it's not using Google Docs nodes. It's just using a standard HTTP request, which is not what we want. But the good thing about GPT is you can go through and you can have a conversation with it. Next, let's try Google Gemini. Let's see what Gemini comes up with. I tried Gemini Canvas. Firstly, we'll look at the regular Gemini output. This is pretty decent. Not great though. There's a lot of disconnected nodes, a lot of question marks. It's not connected. As you can see, the code here is pretty minimal. I would give this a C-. At least it made something. Next, I went to Gemini Canvas. Gemini Canvas is specifically intended for programming and for making projects out of. So I thought maybe this would work better. Did it? It's slightly better, but still a lot of disconnection. It's using the Google Documents nodes again, but it's not using the right YouTube nodes. It's not pulling it together to make something I could work with. Better to start from scratch. So Canvas gets a C+, let's say, being nice about it. One of my favorites is AI Studio, Google's AI Studio. Now, in this case, it actually did go through and produce a full JSON file here that I could work with. So I copied it, and then when we come to AI Studio, same problem. Google AI Studio is a no-go, and it took about 5 minutes. I'd give this a D. There's just nothing here that I could get my teeth into. There are also some additional AI agents out there that can build up projects like this. So next I'm going to test GenSpark, I'm going to test Manus, and I'm going to test Perplexity Labs. The benefits of using these is that you don't have to provide it with the context. You don't have to give it all the documentation about N8N or all the documentation about YouTube. It will actually crawl the web and find this information and put it to work. So this is the Manus code. The output took about 7 minutes and looks really nice, right? But I come in here and try to paste it in and no, it doesn't go. I tried to download the file and upload it in here. No, it doesn't work. That's an F. Next, I went to Perplexity Labs. This took about 14 minutes to go through. When I went to paste it in or upload it, nothing. Didn't go. That's an F. 14 minutes lost. Lastly, I came to GenSpark. I entered it. It took about 4 minutes to process. And look at that. That is beautiful. It has the loop where it's using the right YouTube nodes. It's set up a loop almost properly. It's using YouTube nodes to grab information on each video. The thumbnail prompts, the get description prompt and thumbnail prompts, these need to be Google Docs. I can make that modification myself. And it's updating the video using the Google node again, and it's looping through and then gives a completion summary. This would be a B+, I would say. I would only give an A if it actually worked for me to push the button and just to have it run through the automation and work. But the technology isn't there yet. But this shows us how far we've come in just the last few months. So let's do a brief review and pick some winners and losers. Claude took 2 minutes. First attempt was a B-. On the second attempt, it failed completely. So stick with the first attempt. ChatGPT took about 4 minutes and 34 seconds. It took exactly 4 minutes and 34 seconds. But it gave me an output that's just a line. It's just a linear program, which is not what we're looking for. I would give this a C- because at least it made something. Google Gemini Pro, 2.5 Pro. That gave me some good stuff. It didn't do the YouTube nodes or the Google Docs nodes. It gave me a loop. I would give this a C+. It was out of sequence, but hey, it's close. Gemini 2.5 Canvas. No, this was not so great. I'd give that like a C, slightly better. Google AI Studio D, that took 5 minutes and it gave me nothing I could use. It's not enough for me to actually start putting things together and debugging. Manus, F, failed, took 7 minutes to fail. Perplexity took 14 minutes to fail, Perplexity Labs. GenSpark, this is a B+. I like this output. This is something I could work with. Took about 4 minutes too. So I would say that the winners between GenSpark and Claude. And what you can actually do is download the underlying JSON, and then I could bring it into ChatGPT and use it as a starting point. And so a lot of times the things that the first AI got wrong, it's going to consistently get wrong. But the other AI is going to have a slightly different model and it's going to be able to get it right. So that's my approach. So here's what we learned about AI automation capabilities today. Pattern recognition versus execution. Some AIs can understand complex workflows, but fail completely at their implementation. Secondly, we saw some iterative problem solving. The best systems can debug and improve their own outputs when they're given feedback. Saw some tool-specific knowledge. Our success depends heavily on understanding specific platform APIs and node structures, and there's a time investment trade-off. Spending more processing time doesn't necessarily guarantee better results. What's truly novel here is that AI can now read natural language descriptions of very complicated multi-step processes like the ones you might have in your business, and then translate them into executable code structures, which is something that was impossible just 6 months ago. We're seeing AI systems that can understand context switching, data flow, and conditional logic in ways that were theoretical last year. While this example focused on YouTube automation for content creators, these same capabilities are revolutionizing other industries. In healthcare, AI can read treatment protocols and automatically build patient monitoring workflows. In legal work, you could use these systems to process case requirements, generate document review automations that handle evidence categorization or deadline tracking. The automation revolution isn't limited to engineering or content creation. It's spreading to every field that involves repetitive logic-based processing. If you want to see how these AI capabilities could transform your specific business or your industry, visit aicapitalist.biz, where I, Evan Goldstein, am going to provide consulting work in the AI business space. I can give you more customized and actionable strategies for implementing these cutting-edge tools in your unique situation.